impressive considering how this series has started. Like, if they could do it, this might be the most memorable series that we've had all year long of League of Legends here in Korea.
Yeah. Showmaker laughing as he bans the Aurelia. You know, I was perusing the community in between the matches, and a lot of people were saying, get Closer out of here. He got his one-trick pony, and he wasn't even able to kill Showmaker. It was one big mistake that had, or little mistake that had huge consequences. So I think he still deserves the respect on that.
No, I mean,
he played out the trade really awesomely. Like, he had the flash. It was great.
And
right?
You call him a one-trick, fans out there, but he's 9-5 this season. That was his second career game of Aurelia professionally here in the LCK. And now it looks like he might potentially get this Lucian here in the mid into Seraphine. So they're going to grab early mid priority. And Warner seems to have still a good positive attitude going to this game based on his facial expression here as he gets the Lilia once again that he was undefeated on until this last game. So this is a great start draft-wise for T1. It's much less all-in than the previous one, and it works well with Closer's Lucian. So Kayn again
comes out. I thought maybe, well, you know, the Kayn into the Lilia again. We're seeing this quite a lot. I was thinking maybe we'd see a Graves. We're gonna have Ghost playing Ezreal here, so they say no more of the. No more of the Senna here this time around, Ghost. You're back on the Ezreal, which, by the way, has a 100% win rate, 4-0 so far.
Yeah, and this will be his second game this season. He's also 1-0, so not his first time. They picked the Ezreal over the Sion, which I find interesting, as we will have, it looks like, another fasting Senna locked in here, this time for Teddy. I think the Sion ban, we need to see it here for T1. I think one of the reasons why we're seeing Kayn for Damwon Kia and Canyon in particular have so much success is because he works so well with the weak side Sion, because he can go through walls. His rotation time is faster than most jungles. He can just appear on the other side of a wall where it looks like you have kill pressure. You know, your opponent's jungle is trying to come in and gank, trying to lock you out, and then bam, Kayn goes through a wall and he's there, he saves the Sion, they turn the kill around. We saw it multiple times in the last game into the Aurelia, or excuse me, the Camille matchup, and they banned the Azir, fair, but you've got to ban Sion here, right?
You keep saying it. I'm like, don't curse it, man. I really hope they show the respect that Sion deserves. We've been talking about it a lot, especially when it's Khan, right?
I mean, this guy's only playing Sion right now, and he's done it so well. Just don't allow this to happen. There is no, like, let's be frank, there's a lot of strong champions that have counters that you sometimes can ban, you can play around, but there is no, like, counter to Sion. They banned the Gragas, and for the same reason. But what's to stop Khan from just playing the Sion here? Even as a blind pick, it's very strong. So a little bit baffled by this choice. And T1 have been, coaching staff recently had an interview where they were talking about how confident they are in their drafting. They feel like that's not their weakness at all. The weakness is small in-game decisions this season so far, but I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
well, you know,
it looks like another Camille Sion game to me, Valdez.
Yeah, the thing is if they were going to pick the Sion away, that could potentially be a way to do it. But, you know, Khan is like, okay, I guess maybe I just run it back? Like, for like the 8th time in a row? Like, why not? You know?
How can you draft like this where you are going to give Sion the opportunity to sit up in the top lane and just farm under turret, farm even sometimes safely in the middle of the lane, when he has Ezreal, same sort of global, it's not quite as quick as Senna's to help out, but he's going to have that. He's going to have Canyon's Kayn again to help rescue him in the top side of the map. I think the biggest reason why I like it a little bit more this time, as we will see once again the Syndra here for Showmaker, the biggest reason why I am okay with it is because it's a Lucian matchup into one of the control mages. We now know it's Senna. So you're going to have that extremely strong priority in mid, which is going to allow Owner to actually play as aggressively as he likes to do on this Lilia. Steal camps away. It's going to be much safer than what we saw from the failed attempts on the Aurelia mid. So I like that so much more.
I'm so happy we don't see Tahm Kench. If you throw Keria on Yumi and then Tahm Kench 2 games in a row, you're I don't know. I don't know what to say. Nautilus, again, it's another one of these things where it's just going to be a tank that farms alongside of the Senna that is fasting, most likely. We'll have to wait and see what they do go for. But I don't know. The Maokai was available as well. That was another consideration, as we may have... Okay, there it is. I thought maybe we had a swap bug, or were we actually going to get Seraphine into Camille and go straight into Game 3? Not the case here, as Sion will be, of course, in the top lane.
Seraphine Ezreal is going to be really awesome, too, into the Senna, because what you can do is you can just harass constantly and push those waves, which puts the pressure on Nautilus to last hit minions under turret, and it's a lot harder for him to do that versus an AD, so fasting Senna will have a little bit of a problem in this case in terms of maximizing the value out of the gold in the lane. Not to mention that there is kill pressure with this as well on the bottom side of the map, but I like the Lucian into the Syndra way more than I liked previously, obviously, the Aurelia into Victor, because you have this pushing power and this lane power that's not based on all-ins, it's just based on the matchup. So this means that Wonder should be able to find a little bit more aggression in the jungle. They might be able to put some pressure on Khan. But the fact that they gave him the Scion makes that so much more difficult to execute. So even though I do like this draft a lot more than the previous one here for T1, I still don't like how they got to the end of it.
Yeah, and Damwon Kia get a lot of different pieces that are really big on their side, as we are going to jump onto the Rift here for game number 2. Match 56. Damwon Kia up against T1. We're hoping for a bit more of a balanced game. I don't want to see anyone just randomly hopping off as Uni and dying, and Beryl just laughing at you as he twisted advances and takes your life away, or any kind of weird flashes. I just want to have a straightforward game. We wanted this to be a great series. Game 1 kind of took a little bit of the wind out because it felt like an obvious ending after a really rough beginning for T1. So let's see if they can kind of calm things down. You know, kind of the points we were making before about, you know, maybe getting some of more of the veterans in the lineup so that they can calm things down and be more focused. But we'll have to wait and see if these young guys can just settle down and play their game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're not familiar with T1's players, Wonder is the player to the top right in the cameras there. Learn his face, because I think we're going to be seeing a lot of him for the rest of this year. And he seems to have a really good positive attitude despite that previous loss. And the draft priority both games has been around him on this Lilia pick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, clearly the team trusts in him, and I think that's why we're seeing this, you know, what I've called version 7, 7th variation of the T1 roster, the longest and the most consistent of the rosters they've used so far. So, I mean, he's got a good, you know, positive mental attitude, as people like to say, so far in this game. And I'm not trying to say that just because Closer follow flashed and died that like he's just going to be tilted necessarily. That's not a thing. But you bring if you want to win this series, I think you bring a veteran in, and you can't just. It's also not okay to tell Closer that like, you know, you made a small mistake there, but we still have faith in you to win this series. I think sometimes coaches have to make tough calls if they want to win a best of 3. You want to learn in the best of 3? Maybe this is how you do it. That's my take. Right? Everyone's got different opinions. I think there's probably like 2 million different opinions about T1 out there, but
There's always fun with the T1 matches. We always get a lot of bajillion different opinions on a lot of different subjects, so that's always great to see.
And here's what I was talking about is, you know, not Nocturne, excuse me, the Nautilus is going to be farming under turret.
Okay, they're actually going to go ahead and ignite here. You can see the roots are plentiful from Teddy and Keria. It's not enough to kill him, but they will at least trade the flash of the Seraphine away for just heal and ignite from the side of T1 spot lane.
Yep. Okay,
Ooh, that's another great hook here, and Ghost might just be in trouble.
I think he is. He's going to have another hook in a second.
The problem is that he baits Beryl into this one, as you can see a lot of damage being put forward. They're actually able to turn this one around. Keria and Teddy just turn tail, and they don't finish the job. They don't have the ignite to push the damage, and they respect the ignite from Beryl, as well as the Ghost heal. And wow, what a crazy close trade. That looked like it was Teddy and Keria's way, but at the end of the day, Beryl and Ghost were able to survive.
I mean, Ghost is like, it almost made it look like him. I was trying to say, you know, as you ran into that play, like, oh man, that positional mistake there could cost him big, right? Like, he walked right into Dredgeline range, but it almost looked like it was on purpose, you know, with how he utilized it there. He's even going to buy, they're going to buy potions here for more sustain in the lane, because Kara's had such a great Nautilus defense here. And only a little bit behind CS frankly, given where we were and how pushed up that wave was. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So I wanted to settle things down, but we had a,
Yeah,
a very
sure.
crazy start to the bottom lane.
And, you know, this is a really interesting almost passing of the torch kind of series potentially here, right? Where Damwon Kia are actually on a 5-series winning streak against T1. Like,
Yeah.
they have been extremely successful since they came into the LCK at this this matchup versus T1. And T1, SKT, well, this closer is like, well, this is the matchup that Wolf was talking about earlier. We're just going to try to zap people. This is a team, SK Telecom T1, that is the most famous League of Legends team of all time.
Oh, the flash. Closer nearly makes
Closer,
it
let me
happen.
narrative, man!
No, you're not allowed, Wolf. Only action. Showmaker does survive a really quick response with his own flash, so he's able to get out of dodge, but you can see what Lucian is able to pull off in this lane.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you pick this. That's why it's becoming more popular again. This is not rocket science. We saw this a lot last year, too. It's just making a big comeback right now with the AP jungle pool.
Wow. So is denying that back and giving, okay, wait, we have a hook in the bottom lane and a root follow-up. This is part of the Nautilus Senna lane. And you can see that the second that combo ends, Beryl and Ghost immediately try to trade as much as possible because that's where a lot of the power comes from Nautilus Senna, those two roots. But
Yeah.
man, the flash play to deny the good back from closer, I don't know if that's, I mean, obviously it's great, it feels great for Showmaker, right? But you lose your flash as the Kane early. I don't know. Interesting
I
decision.
think it's okay. I mean, it's not, obviously it didn't work out the way that we would have liked. We might have been able to do a little bit more there, but I think it's okay because most of your job as Kane in this game is to be a defensive ganker, to counter gank against, I mean, not even counter gank, but to be defensive against all-ins from closer, be defensive against all-ins from Zeus. So I think the flash is not going to be too important in those because he can simply go through walls and rotate over. I don't think it's going to be too huge of a loss, but I mean, it feels bad that he traded it there, and I don't know if it was worth it necessarily, but it's not like it's going to ruin his game plan here, I don't think. But yeah, to go back to, well, hold that thought, I don't want to go back to it yet.
Oh, that was close. Dredgeline is dodged, and Beryl just kind of laughs at them, and now Canyon is down here. Gonna spot this going on.
Yes,
Wonder,
6.
thinking about getting in there. He's gonna put the double sleep down, but look at all the heals and shields. Do they have the burst? Yes, they do. But here comes Canyon looking to get something on the back of this. He's gonna get a Dark Harvest, but that is about it, as he will have to turn tail now. The root goes down onto Ghost.
Closer's here.
Closer's here. Oh no, this
got
could
ult.
be desperate for the side of Damwon Kia. The two of them will be taken out as the dive is perfect. And the timing is pristine from Closer to pick up those two.
That was so well handled by the bot duo of T1. You really love to see this trust that they have in the jungler as well. And, you know, we talk about Wonder as a rookie player and how successful he's been on the Lilia, but this champion just oozes synergy with every lane and the priority that they've had in mid lane that allows him to play this aggressively. He's just playing this so well, and he gets the double sleep, and they're able to get so much out of this. And like I was saying, Canyon's here for counter gank, right? A little bit slow to the party here this time, unfortunately. But that's his whole game plan, that's his whole MO. You have the sleep that parallels right into, or parlays right into the dredge line. And then Canyon's like, uh-oh, I'm getting a little bit low. And this whole time, rotation down from Closer, and there's just no way out, unfortunately. Closer is just going to go right over the wall. And they think they're safe under turret here, but obviously we know that's not true. And it's just a full wipe of the whole bottom side. 3 kills for T1.
Yeah, and that's a problem. That is a problem for Damwon Kia. T1 have opened up this game really nicely. They get their Lucian ahead, 1-0-1. The Lilia is going to be out of control now. Already 2-0 ahead on farm. And Canyon, you know, we talked about the flash play in the mid lane. But now even that, you know, the failed counter gank, the fact that he dies, he loses a lot of time farming. He's not able to pick up a single kill to further his chance at hitting his next stance here, his next form. And, you know, when you have this big of a lead in the jungle, say goodbye to the Rift Herald. That's not yours anymore. Damwon Kia T1 will easily scoop that one up.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately for Zeus, he hasn't been able to make anything happen. He's played fairly passively in the top side of the map during all of this because obviously the big focus this game has been on the bottom side of the map. You know that Canyon is down there, so maybe you could make something happen, but Khan has been playing this top lane so safely that he hasn't had any opportunities for all-ins or kills up here that requires a response, because he can't really do it alone in this matchup. Against the Gragas, maybe, but they banned that one instead. They play against the Scion, so Zeus hasn't gotten too much out of this. That's the one kind of redeeming factor here, I guess, for Damwon in this early part of the game. But I mean, this game has been very much going the way that T1 planned it to, which is a big and great fresh breath of air.
Breath of fresh air.
It's been a very nice Zelda Breath of the Wild here at the, in Game 2.
Indeed.
Still waiting on that sequel, but we have a sequel to Game 1 here in this series, and it's much better. It's big improvements they've made.
Yeah, and I mean, anything that makes a Game 3 happen, I'm happy with that, if that's a sequel or whatever. As here comes the Seraphine ultimate. Canyon is here this time around. He's looking for Teddy, and he should have the damage. A huge wipe of the two of them, but now the teleports come in. They're trying to get on top of Ghost, and the damage is enough for Closer, as Canyon is way too deep under that turret. Double kill again to Warner here. As Showmaker is thinking about it, he's going to keep them at range as he is the Syndra. But man, T1 able to convert that one, a 2-for-1 in favor of them.
Yeah, so well played by T1. I mean, that team fight was so fast, if you blinked, you probably missed it. I mean, it started off with extreme damage output on both sides. You saw the true shot barrage going through at the beginning, and then they turned the T1 turned this around with a really nice rotation down from Closer yet again, which is made possible due to that lane priority, which is why the Lucian pick has made teams look so out of control in terms of their skirmishes around objectives and on the bottom side of the map. So Beryl is spotted right away, and then he gets his charm off. Ghost actually true shot barrages immediately, but Teddy dodges it. And there's so much damage out here for Canyon that it looks like, okay, this fight is over. But then Closer shows up, right? He's able to come here unpunished to match Showmaker's rotation. And this is just where the fight ends, because Showmaker can't actually, his cooldowns are too long, and to see that arrival of Warner stays there. But T1 are getting a really nice edge in this game, and with 4 kills on Warner at the moment, and already his Leandri is completed, these ganks become even scarier.
Yeah. He gets his Leandri so early, as you mentioned, which just accelerates the Zhonya's. That should be next, I would imagine, especially up against the Kane Syndra. He's just going to be such a menace. I mean, how are you going to deal with this insane amount of damage this early on is a big question if you're Damwon. This is a really fantastic lead that T1 have gained for themselves. And they're going to want to wait it out, They want to wait until the Kane hits his next form, the Ezreal gets farmed up a bit. But T1, they're not wasting any time. They got the Rift Herald earlier on. Looks like they want to feed that over to Closer. Don't mind that at all, as Canyon waiting in the wings, but guess what? Take a look at the mini-map. The rotation is coming in here from the side of T1, but Teddy is going to get isolated on the right side here, as Scion is the one teleporting in. He's going to be able to survive for a very long time, as Canyon getting burst down on the left side. Will eventually go down, I'd imagine, as they're trying to get on top of Beryl, but Zeus goes extremely low. Will be able to pick up that kill finally. And now we got a 3-on-3 as a huge hook comes out from Keria. He's able to isolate Showmaker, and look at Warner just running around the fight. Nobody can do any damage to this insanely fed Lilia.
I mean, he's just doing so much. He doesn't have his sleep anymore, so I don't think he can obviously push the issue any further here. Well, I say that, it's gonna force a flash.
There you go. Even the Scion is scared against 6-0 Lilia.
And these trades are just trade ups for T1. I mean, we're gonna go back to the beginning of this where we all started. Beryl ends up missing the root, then you see this hook come through. But Teddy is all alone, and he just gets burst down. But it doesn't matter, because Warner is here. And Teddy actually buys so much time that Closer gets to rotate over, and the true shot barrage is just so negligible at this point. Keria gets the knock up, and there's just too much damage here. Once Warner and Closer are in this fight, it just simply doesn't matter. Then Zeus has this insane Hextech ultimatum outplay, so he guarantees the kill there onto Beryl. And then Wonder's like, I'm still here, by the way. How many Qs can I get in this fight? Like, show me the team fight damage stats.
Yeah.
Like, he did so much. And he forces a flash here at the end, actually. We're not going to show it, but so well played.
Yeah. And the fact that the hook goes down onto Showmaker means that Showmaker can't sit in the back line and force the Lilia away. The second you get the Syndra in the back side of the fight super low and basically dead, you just open up so much potential for the Lilia to continue just prancing around as she does.
Yeah.
And that was really the highlight moment for me. Keria just kind of smurfing there at that moment in time.
Teddy also, I mean, he died, and he was the first to go down in the fight, but the way he kited back and survived for so long, had a good ult, like, he actually helped allow that positional advantage to come through for T1, allow Wonder to actually safely get into position to do all that damage as, you know, Khan zoned out, as you mentioned. And now they're just kind of trying to run away with this lead that they have. They have a 3,000 gold lead. Lilia is 3,000 gold ahead, almost, in this game herself. So T1 are just trying to get every single objective they can on the map.
Ooh, he's gonna land that one, and I think Closer might be dead. Yeah, see you later. Unleash that power, and it's as easy as that. He's only built up the Merc Treads for defensive items, so this might be an opportunity for Damwon to actually convert onto Shirley here. It's going to come down to a smite fight. That one will go to Canyon. And this is the first step, you know? A weaker team would just kind of sit back here behind and say, well, shucks, what can we do? But Damwon seems like they always find a way. It doesn't matter what team they're against. We'll see what they can do with this.
I mean, they punish Closer, right? He doesn't have his Gale Force yet. He gets caught. You make a small mistake like that around the Rift Herald fight, it's going to cost you the Rift Herald itself. It's really smart macro game here. As Khan is just so good at this champion. I didn't remember when they could have banned Sound and they didn't. Yeah, I remember that. That happened just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Happened about 16 minutes ago.
The thing is that he's great at, oh man.
Defensive ganks!
He's baited him so hard yet again. And the Senna ultimate is just laughable at this point. How about Canyon picks up another kill?
That's the whole, this is the pairing I'm talking about. You want to talk about synergy in the bottom lane, you want to talk about like what works well with Damwon and Kia's draft. I'm like, Khan is just unkillable in this matchup, and then if Zeus tries to push the issue, then Canyon just goes through a wall and kills him. Yeah. Like we've already watched this happen before.
Oh, Keria's angry. He's going to be able to pick up another kill for his team. No flash available for Showmaker there, as now getting a little bit too deep this time around is Wonder, or has he? He's burning down, but he will survive, and Beryl is going to be the one that actually goes down at the end of it all.
That was actually so well played by everyone on T1 involved. Keria with the hook, they commit in deep. Wonder knows he's going to live, and then Keria just goes right around the edge to make sure that he gets that follow-up hook off, and Closer is ready for the follow-through. Commits his flash, but it's worth it. It guarantees a kill. Now he's back down here saving a turret. What a big turnaround here for Closer in this second game. Closer and Wonder both who've you know, had some small mistakes that ended up giving Damwon such a massive win in that first game. This time around, totally different story.
Absolutely.
Keria is like, he's playing angry, it almost feels like you said.
Keria is just an insane player. Like, say what you will about the Yumi play, you know, stuff happens. He's fine. Let's see what they can do on a dive here against Khan. Can they actually kill the Scion? They say no.
Not with no minions.
And you know what the crazy thing is that if they ban Scion, he's playing Gragas in this game. And
yeah.
He probably would have been doing a very similar thing up in the top lane. So Khan is just the rock that they needed in the tops. I mean, they had Nuggery, but a different kind of player. It's great in his own fashion.
They're defensive top laners and they're aggressive ones. Khan is a defensive top laner, generally speaking.
Okay, that's a lot of damage.
A lot of damage and clears the minion wave, so just guarantees that that's the end of that. I mean, this has been, again, really good defensive play around Khan from Damwon. Like, for like the 18th time in a row, it feels like. But actually, like, 9th time in a row, I think. So, I'm gonna watch this one more time here in the mid lane. So this was a really sick play from Keria. He has flash forward, the minions that are there, so he can just hook through. Showmaker goes down, and then Wonder's like, oh, I'm going to steal these. And Barrel's like, ha ha ha, Charm coming through. And sure, they end up trading a lot of damage back, but they just don't have enough to kill Wonder, and they know it too. They're like, uh-oh, he's got sleep. And then Carrier goes just to the left of the wall, threads the needle perfectly. Closer has the follow-up flash to secure the kill.
Keep in mind that there was no ultimate for the Kayn, but also Wonder had a stopwatch. So even if there was an ultimate, you can avoid that damage, and probably the Kayn dies anyway. So Canyon did the right thing by just trying to back away. It kind of looked a little bit sheepish, but that's what he had to do. Either they were going to burst him down there and force a stopwatch, or you know, they were never going to get that kill with all of T1 around. So, nice little bait from Wonder. He knows how far ahead he is. I mean, he's the highest level in the game. As, well, Damwon using a bunch of stuff. Another insane hook from Keria. Here comes Sion in the back line, but where's the follow-up? Everybody on the side of Damwon is backing away.
Closer.
Closer is just going on an expedition here. Where is he going?
Oh, no.
Khan does a great job of zoning the rest of the team out so that they can't follow Closer on his exploration of the Wild Wild West.
I mean, I respect Closer's decision to rotate around like that because there was no one to lock him down. And actually, it forced Damwon to back off in the fight. Obviously, Khan got left in the dust, but you know he did his function in the fight well. It ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, so nothing too bad here for Damwon, but Closer might have been able to make that a 2-for-1. It's very close. Well played there from Showmaker to prevent that from happening. Nice respect. As we'll watch, this is you know a tale of two players, right? Khan and Closer. As the Charm goes completely wide, and Khan is zoning everybody out. Closer's here trying to secure this kill on the Showmaker. Keria turns back around because they're trying to catch Khan, and they are successful, but the trade-off is, you know, that Showmaker, or rather Closer can't get the kill here. There's too much damage. So it's a 1-for-1.
I mean, he didn't have too many options. He could have tried to run southeast, right, you know, below the dragon, but he was pretty much committed after using his ultimate there. So it is what it is. He kind of had an awkward angle there after teleporting in. Tried to make the best of it. And by the way, you talked about the Gale Force. He went for the bow in this case, up against the Syndra.
I think it's pretty good considering, too, the amount of lockdown that Damwon have that could potentially lead to his death, his demise, if he gets burst down after one of these stuns hits. You know, like the Sion ultimate coming through, or Scatter of the Weak, or a Seraphine Charm helps survive through that potentially, then he does a lot of damage. And Teddy, you know, is going towards his Rage Blade. He's going to have that fairly soon. That's a lot of damage output that T1 are going to have later on in this game. So just guaranteeing that they're surviving enough to do the massive damage they have, because they don't have a real traditional frontline in this game, I think is pretty safe. Because, you know, Gale Force would have been nice in that last moment, right, where he's like chasing Showmaker. But otherwise, in a straight-up 5v5, I do like this choice of the Immortal Shield Ball. Speaking of items, by the way, look at the items for Wonder here. He's gotten his Oblivion Orb, he went Double Mask, Demonic Embrace. He does so much damage, has great heal deny.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
He just accelerates his build so much with this. And, you know, when you've got a stopwatch, you don't need the Zonias. As they're trying to get on top of Keria here, the root not quite there, but the knockup is, as Senna's ultimate will help out. This is a gigantic sleep. Can they get something from this? Barrel gets the charm off, but Khan, he doesn't really have the support from his team. Canyon and Ghost not able to get on in there as well, and Showmaker was in the top lane pushing, so T1 catch him out, get a couple kills.
Hey, the series is delivering, Valdez. The script came true. T1 having such a great... Ooh, oh, that was Caster Curse maybe for a second there, but T1 having such great team synergy here on every rotation they make. Keria's Nautilus together with Wonder here on these sleeps with the Lilia, setting up so much. I mean, it's really reminiscent of what we've seen so much with Zoe Thresh, for example, but a lot more deadly in this case because Wonder is a 705 Lilia.
Yeah. He's kind of insane. I like T1's decision not to go for the Baron there. You're up against insane poke from the Kayn, which, when you think about that, the Shadow Assassin Kayn just has insane poke. That's a lot of the reason why Canyon and teams are playing it so much.
Yeah.
You're so fast, you just zip in and out, and you do insane poke damage. And the Ezreal and Syndra. So you just don't want to get poked out there and take a chance.
This is a proactive play from Khan, right? He comes through, but they just part like the Red Sea. Then he gets locked down, ult to save Terra, not even necessary here. And then Wunner comes in and he's like, no, triple sleep. No damage here from Ghost. No damage in this fight whatsoever. He W's and doesn't even hit.
Yeah.
Doesn't even hit, and that's 2 kills off of a really proactive attempt here from Khan. But the reaction was so good from T1. They did not get caught with their pants down. They reacted so quickly, even though they didn't have vision. And of course, Zeus does have to flash, and they don't feel comfortable Baroning after this, as you mentioned, but Khan's looking for it again.
Yeah, he's back over there. And with a very weak tier 1 turret for T1, they do have to be a bit respectful, especially if not everybody is there. Like, I know Wunner is fed out of his mind, but at the same time, got to be careful about the hard engage that Damwon Kia do have. And this game is pretty interesting. You know, I don't think it's over by any means, right? The early game and mid game have been pretty much dominated by T1. But there are some tools on the side of Damwon Kia. They have some pretty insane poke.
Yeah.
When you just look at the bottom side, and like literally everybody.
If anyone gets caught out of position too for T1, they have a very squishy team composition. Like Wunner didn't even build Zhonya's. You know, you talked about it. He had a stopwatch. Remember that stopwatch you're talking about? He could have used earlier.
Still got it.
He still has it.
Yeah.
So like, why even build Zhonya's? He just finished Morel and Elmacon instead.
Yeah.
Because he still has the stopwatch. So why even care? He could build the Zhonya's later if he wants to. If we go to a really late game, which Damwon Kia is really hoping for.
Ooh. Zeus calling him out. He's like, I know you're in that brush. And eventually, you know, right now, doesn't look like Zeus can actually just straight up 1v1 him, but eventually.
He will. I mean, yeah, eventually he will. And right now, you know, obviously he knows that most of Damwon Kia is nearby, so he's not even going to keep training. There's a turret here. But yeah, this is a really big force to be reckoned with in terms of split pushing. So even if Damwon Kia starts to win fights, there's so many ways that Zeus and T1 could just avoid that, because Gozer also has really strong pushing power on the solution pick, as we can see here, and he's got a blast cone to get out of here. I see Barrel and like, maybe just not stick around.
I'll see myself out.
Yeah.
Zeus chilling with the blue buff. Yeah. For now, if you get hit by something like that, you just kind of have to back off, farm it out. And with the turret there, it does make Khan a little bit safer to just stick by that one. We might have a little bit of a lull state here. I think these Infernal Drakes are going to be big for both teams. Obviously, it feels like we've said that every game, but in this one as well, there's just a lot of guys that would love that scaling damage.
Okay, Zeus caught here, but there's a huge minion wave. Like, Khan is alone here, by no means safe. Yeah, he needs to back away. No one's even nearby.
That's a nice little objective to pick up right before this Infernal Drake fight.
Yeah, and they're gonna have total vision control over this Drake. They even have this ward here in the river, as well as that, you know, regular traditional ward down to the bottom of the red buff pit. So Damwon Kia has no ability to flank here. Khan has already used, I mean, he's already...
It's Optimus Prime over here,
yeah.
zooming in.
Like, I don't know if he's going to be able to have a strong engage just straight up at the front line like this.
Okay, Zeus spotted though. That's pretty big. It's moving towards Canyon, and it is going to go the way of Canyon. That is just so big. Keria will be trying to force this engage now. But you can see that Damwon Kia aren't necessarily trying to get in. That's another huge sleep. It is massive. A huge charm comes in, but I don't think it's enough. They get on top of Ghost, but the damage follow-up is massive from Canyon. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough, though. Wunner finally uses that stopwatch and just totally negates it. And this is why Damwon Kia did not want to fight. T1 will wipe the floor with them and will win that team fight in a big match.
I mean, Damwon Kia are so lucky that they got that Drake. They are so lucky they were able to make that happen. But now it's going to be Baron. This is going to be way better. And the sleep from Wunner, who's had a perfect game, 7-0 and 10 in this game right now, who did finally break his stopwatch.
Yeah.
That's great. Now watch this. Watch this retreat. Okay, where is Wunner right now? He's like zooming forward. He's like, I'm getting in there. He's like, oh, wait for this, guys. Bowling ball hits, and it is going to be a triple sleep. And then what happens, Showmaker actually has a really nice play here as he hits a huge Scatter of the Weak. And that's when the True Shot Barrage connects as well. Then you see Canyon go through, and he's got tons of damage, but they still can't do it. Look at the damage coming out from Teddy. Look at it, it's insane.
And closer, the two of them.
And Keria has a great depth charge as well. To follow it up, the flash is amazing. T1 with a perfect team fight here, all things considered. Wow.
Yeah.
This game has become very exciting.
It's hard to defeat Damwon Kia in team fights, but they find a way to do it. And just give the player of the game the winner already. Just write it down on that paper, because this guy, if they win, which it's looking pretty likely at this point, he deserves it, absolutely. And we'll see. I mean, where do we go from here? Because things are kind of getting out of control. The Lilia, we already mentioned her so many times, completes that Zhonya's right after you use the stopwatch, just fine.
Needs to buy, all in one go.
Yeah, no problem there.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, where, like you said, where do we go from here? What fights can Damwon Kia hope to take? At least they slowed down the Soul Point. I mean, with the slow amount of Drakes they're taking, I mean, only 3 Drakes 30 minutes into the game. You know, that's not the issue. The issue now is, like, can you save your inhibitors? You really just have to sit back and play this slow as Damwon Kia. If they don't lose any inhibitors here, then everything resets, and they still have a very strong team fight composition with the CC they have, and you can see how much, if you end up hitting a big Scion ult into Scatter the Weak, True Shot Barrage connects, plus Ezreal's damage output at this stage of the game is really high.
Canyon wants it. He wants to get on top of that Camille. You can see already the amount of damage that he can do, but Senna immediately there. He didn't want to push that far up the lane, so.
Yeah, and it's still a win here for Damwon Kia, actually, to push them back. That's going to eat a lot of that Baron clock.
I don't know what Kana's doing this far up. Looks like he might just die. They're chipping away through that shield, and finally he'll be forced to flash away.
Barrel's like, I'm not dying, you're dying. Barrel tanked it for a little while there.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this is eating through the Baron clock. So, I mean, that's all you could do right now if you're Damwon Kia. They're looking for another potential pick on the Zeus here.
No. Good read. They have enough vision to see that coming, and so Zeus just backs away. They'll be able to use the last of this Baron buff, I would imagine, to take this inhibitor. As another gigantic hood hits Showmaker in the front, and now Ghost is in so much trouble as he will go down as well, and it looks like we are going to a game number 3, the game everybody wanted to see, as Khan will be wrecked at the end of it all as well, and T1 will push on for the victory.
What an insane turnaround from T1 to have such a pathetically bad, I mean very weak game number 1. Huge mistakes in the early game that lead to an insanely dominant start for Damwon Kia, and yet these rookie players